In today's news, Health Minister reports one active case in the BVI. Tourism services protocols meetings to be held and a special virtual meeting held with bar owners. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Welcome there, everybody. Today is Tuesday, October 6th, 2020. I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
And I'm Ron Grant. It's another day in the beautiful British Virgin Islands. We're coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Kyla, before we get into our newscast, there are lots in store. We have the Rotary Sunrise Club. They're having a paint and sip for polio. That's a very exciting event, which is an event that they have been putting on for a long time. But the Rotary Club of Sunrise and Rotary Club of Tortola has been championing the cause for polio across the region for a very long time. And tickets are available for $40 per person. And of course, that event is being held on October 24th, 2020 at 5 p.m.
Yes, so definitely looking forward to that. And also, Ron, in the month of October, another sip and pain that is coming up in observance of spina bifida. Now, yesterday I had an amazing interview with Miss Zubaida O'Neill, and she was basically speaking to her experience and her daughter's experience with spina bifida. So that paint and sip will be at Irene's restaurant and bar. Tickets are also $40, and that one will be held on Friday, October 16th, 2020, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So we see where, for all good causes, you can go out and have a bit of fun and all donate to a very worthy cause.
And not only that, Higher BVI, they're having a raffle. Of course, we know that they had their back-to-school distribution, but they're raffling an Apple iPad and an Apple Watch. $10 per ticket and $30 for 4 tickets. The drawing will be held on November 26, 2020. Higher BVI has been doing a tremendous job throughout the community as it pertains to not only making sure that persons are staying employed and preserving that opportunity, but they're also doing just tremendous stuff in regards to making sure that young persons within the community who are looking for jobs, essentially, they have an opportunity. So we're excited to celebrate that.
Most definitely. And before we head into the newscast, and this one is definitely something we'll be speaking about, the BVI Tourist Board is presenting an industry update session. So we'll be heading right into that in our newscast. But we have so much for you viewers, so we will jump right into it.
Indeed. Now, in today's newscast on the local scene, in a very highly anticipated virtual meeting held on Sunday evening, October 4th, bar owners from across the territory of the Virgin Islands, they sat down with ministers of government from the Virgin Islands and they specified precise guidelines. They can live with COVID-19. These were the calls that were essentially asked upon, Kyla, by the government of the Virgin Islands. They were asking bar owners to really precisely speak about measures that they could live for. Essentially, the meeting organized, of course, and moderated by Deputy and Speaker and Territorial At-Large Representative, the Honorable Neville Sheep-Smith, who is seemingly championing the cause for the bar owners across the territory. Now, in attendance, of course, was also Leader of Government Business, the Honorable Andrew A. Foy, as well as Minister for Health, the Honorable Carvin Malone, Junior Minister for Trade and Economic Development, the Honorable Shireen Flax Charles, Chief Environmental Officer, Mr. Lionel Michaels, bar owners, as well as members of the recently formed Bar Owners Association. Now, Kyla, this was a very imperative meeting, the meeting which lasted about 8:30 p.m. It began at 8:30 p.m. and it lasted for about 2 hours with bar owners and other persons. It really essentially saw persons bringing their concerns to the forefront of the many issues presented by the government of the Virgin Islands. They essentially requested bar owners to present a detailed plan for the reopening of bars with specific guidelines as it pertains to how they would control patrons and how they would just really control the environment. Of course, as it pertains to alcohol, they looked at the utmost urgency. And one bar owner asks, apart from the Bar Owners Association coming together to form the Allegiance, were there any plans? And we see this being a paramount concern among persons within the community. They're presenting concerns, but one of the bar owners essentially presented are you guys presenting any plans for us in this occasion? We see where bar owners have been essentially been just
definitely trying their best, Ron.
Yeah.
We see where across the territory, I think many persons may look at bars and wondering, well, why can't they stay closed? But I think we can look across the territory and we can see where there are many bars, like any place else, are businesses in the BVI, and there are many patrons who are waiting to get their doors back open. So this is definitely just a concern, a valid concerns from our entrepreneurs here in the territory. And then just we see where Honorable Neville Smith,
Yes.
asking that the members not get sidetracked and basically cast any blame, but to stick together to find those solutions. So
now, Kyla, that's a very important point. But additionally, bar owners were asked to state how exactly they plan to consistently enforce protocols and guidelines as it pertains to controlling the patrons who are at the bar. Now, some suggestions included security, fines, bar task force, as well as to govern essentially each other and hold bar owners accountable throughout the entire ordeal. Now, one of the things that's very important is that in the response to suggestions by the Bar Owners Association Chief Environmental Officer, Mr. Lionel Michaels stated, and I quote, "The government of the Virgin Islands is focused on suppressing COVID-19, not issuing fines." He also confirmed that about 40 persons essentially have been recruited already to serve the local task force to regulate bars. And Kyla, this is something that we've seen essentially should have been implemented a long time ago.
Right.
But bar owners are coming to the forefront and they're calling. One of the bar owners himself, Clive Barronville of La Petite Sports Bar, he said, and I quote, "We need our fair chance to govern ourselves and abide by the laws." And essentially they're asking for a chance, an opportunity to really put measures in place and put protocols in place, essentially to be open. I think it's a plea essentially by the Bar Association community to be able to open. And we see where they're literally pleading with government officials to just have an opportunity.
Most definitely, Ron. I think across the board, we've heard this before, where patrons, persons, residents have just been asking to be able to govern themselves. So we see where this is an overall situation in the territory.
One of the things, Kyla, that I want to contribute to this is alcohol and beverage distributors all across the territory of the Virgin Islands are also really seeing levels of hardship, as the most of their clients are bar owners, and some of them from Caribbean Cereals to Tico's to Rotan Wholesales. They've been forced to lay off many persons, but at the end of the day, they're really pleading with bar owners and the government to really come to a solution so that everyone, it's a domino effect, and at the end of the day, we have to acknowledge that effect. Of course, the Honorable Shireen Flax Charles also contributed and lobbied for sister island businesses to be included in the association, as they too, of course, adversely affected by the closure.
Most definitely. Now, Ron, this will continue to be a conversation, and
I agree.
we see it in the industry as it pertains to bars, and as you said, a domino effect for other suppliers, but just across the board where persons are asked asking to govern themselves and to be given a chance to probably to save their businesses, because this is just something that our entrepreneurs want.
And also, Kyla, inadvertently, they're offering a service to the community. Whether persons may agree or not, I think at the end of the day, whether bar owners want to admit it and persons want to admit it, bar owners and persons who traverse, when you look at the trajectory of the territory of the Virgin Islands, persons who may purchase alcohol for at home or purchase alcohol for their business or their parties, when you look at it, the bar territory, there are 250 bars, restaurants, nightclubs in the territory of the Virgin Islands. And at the end of the day, we have to look at the fact that at the end of the day, they serve a very pivotal role in the economy and in providing economic growth to a lot of persons throughout the Virgin Islands.
Most definitely. Ron, as we move on, we see where the Minister for Health and Social Development, Honorable Carvin Malone, he reported that the territory continues to prepare to reopen our borders as no new COVID-19 cases have been detected. Now, Minister Malone further reported that most of the COVID-19 cases have recovered and only one active case remains. Now, Minister Malone said, and I quote, "These low to no active cases are a good indication that the public is complying to all health and safety protocols and measures that the government has put in place. It is also a good indication on our readiness for reopening in the weeks ahead, which will give our economy the boost that it needs," said Health Minister Honorable Malone, that as I said before. Now, as of October 6th, which is today, the number of persons tested at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital stands at 5,161 persons, with just one active COVID-19 case. The total number of recoveries currently is 69, and the total number of COVID-19 cases recorded in the BVI is 71, and of course, one unfortunate death. Now, Honorable Malone commended the continued work of the HELP team, the Joint Task Force, as well as the private and public alliances in the community, which continues to basically just continued effort to combat and adjust in this new regular of COVID-19. Our Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, he expressed his excitement via Facebook, saying, and I quote, "To God alone be all the glory." He then showed gratitude to the Minister of Health and the HELP team. He said, and I quote, "I thank our Health Minister, Honorable Carvin Malone, as well as our health officials, government officials, and public officials and public officers for their continuous efforts in keeping the BVI safe with BVI love." Now, Ron, firstly, as I always say, we have to celebrate those small wins.
I agree.
But I definitely think this is a big win for the BVI, and it's definitely great news. Now, for weeks, we saw where the active cases in the territory increased, and we must be grateful as the BVI only has one recorded active case in our territory currently. Now, as Minister Malone said, this is a clear indication that the BVI people are complying with the necessary measures and have been put in place to keep us safe. So we're definitely thankful for that. But now, Ron, although the Minister of Health said that this may be a good indication of our readiness for the reopening in a few weeks, persons in the community may beg to differ with this sentiment. Now, persons are still awaiting that comprehensive plan for reopening and the reopening of our borders to visitors, and persons within the community is looking for a clear direction to how we would operate within this new normal, especially with our borders now reopening. Right now, we are under curfew, and it's really good that persons are complying with the necessary measures, but going forward and reopening our borders is a whole different ball game. And without a plan, I think persons are somewhat worried. How do we go about this new normal?
Essentially, Kyla, not only in the absence of a plan, but persons are essentially looking forward to the fact that protocols are put in place and that allows us to govern and really chart the trajectory of the territory. One of the things that we have to look at is when we're opening our borders in December 1st, which is the scheduled date, we have not yet internally opened within the territory of the Virgin Islands. And one of the things that we have to look at is many business owners and business places are still closed. So we have to really put into perspective, I think, essentially the way forward. And while persons may plead and ask for a plan, I think essentially they're just looking for a blueprint, and it does not mean that we know the way forward. It does not mean that we know step by step. It just means that we're charting the way forward and we have some idea essentially of where we're going as a territory in the Virgin Islands. And I think essentially that's what the people of the territory of the Virgin Islands are looking forward to. It's a very difficult time, and we look forward to the territory of the Virgin Islands being opened, but it's also a level of high level of uncertainty.
Definitely. And I think, Ron, the question really lies, does readiness equal the number of cases that we have? Having 0 cases, does this necessarily mean that we are ready to open our borders full force to all tourism persons and tourists and visitors without somewhat of a plan to keep this sustainable?
Carla, unfortunately, before we go away, one of the things that's been the norm when it comes to the territory of the Virgin Islands is we've seen where we had a lockdown with a very small number of cases, and now that we're moving towards a very more minimal level of cases, persons in the territory of the Virgin Islands are wondering if we were to have an influx, if we were to have a surge in cases, does that mean that we're going to have a lockdown? And I think essentially that's what is of concern to the people of the Virgin Islands. We cannot continue to lock down every time there's an influx of cases. Now we see where there's 1 case confirmed, and we're going to get to that, of course, but we have to protect our territory, we have to protect, of course, our economy, and we have to essentially make sure that the Virgin Islanders and business community, they feel secured in that once they are abiding by the protocols, we know that we're going to protect them and essentially give them an opportunity to make a living and welcome essentially December 1st, our visitors.
Most definitely. Now, viewers, after this quick commercial break, we will definitely be diving in to the government's efforts in creating a reopening plan for the tourism industry. The government will be holding a host of meetings with stakeholders in the service industry, so you definitely do not want to miss that. And also up next, BVI, CCHA, and IBG release a certification protocols for stakeholders. So it's all about the protocols, and you definitely do not want to miss this. After a quick word from our sponsors.
How may I assist you? Yes. You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, officials from the BVI Tourist Board will discuss the draft reopening protocols with the necessary stakeholders specific to their respective tourism sectors starting this week. Now, Premier and Minister of Finance, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, said it is critical that the government meet with the stakeholders in the service industry at this juncture as it actions its reopening plan for the territory. Premier Foy said, and I quote, "As I have said on many occasions, we are in this together, government officials, government agencies, and private sector, in ensuring that our guests are welcomed in the safest manner possible and that our communities remain safe as well." The Premier, who is also the Minister for Tourism, said that the discussions are expected to be productive as the industry experts get an opportunity to review the plans and give input, which will ultimately aid in the finalization of the COVID-19 protocols for this industry. Now, meanwhile, chairwoman of the BVI Tourist Board, Mrs. Kenesha Sprav, said the board is eager to lead the discussion with its industry partners as they finalize the COVID-19 health and safety protocols for the various sectors of the tourism industry. She said, and I quote, "The frank and impartial discussions will be the perfect opportunity for experts in the various industries to lend their voices to the COVID-19 strategies proposed for the reopening." Now, Mrs. Sprav added that the meetings will be held virtually and stakeholders who have not received an invitation can contact the BVI Tourist Board for the meeting details. Now, Ron and viewers, if you are interested in this and this pertains to you, the industry meetings are scheduled for firstly, Tuesday, October 6th with resorts and private island and large hotels. Then on Wednesday with smaller hotels, guest houses, and villas. Then Thursday, October 8th with licensed taxi operators. Tuesday, October 13th with tour operators, shuttles, rental cars. Wednesday, October 14th with marinas and crew yacht charters, bareboat yacht charters. And Thursday, October 15th with diving and water sports. Tuesday, October 20th, restaurants and bars. And Wednesday, October 21st with spas and salons. So you see there, Ron, where there is the array of sections as it pertains to tourism in the territory. And I really like this concept, Ron, simply because each of these categories will need different guidelines and protocols. And who better to go to than the actual experts, the persons that are actually working within this sector.
Kala, as we seek to reopen our territory of the Virgin Islands, a lot of persons have been waiting and anticipating. Persons have been booking flights to come and go, and I think it's a very essential point as it pertains to the reopening. Persons are on the edge. They're looking forward to the opportunity to really move forward, and that really lends itself to our next story. The British Virgin Islands Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association, President of Hospitality and CEO of the Incline Business Group, Chauncey Klein, worked with a small task force to create the BVI High Five Assurance Program guidelines. Now, these guidelines included the recommendations, steps for a soft reopening with a safe haven concept with outer islands of 20 June 2020. Now, the period would allow, of course, for the protocols to be thoroughly tested for the requested reopening dated of the September 1st, 2020. The idea really essentially of the BVI business community that they pass all requirements, and this is one of the things that's very important, Carla. The idea of the BVI High Five Assurance Program was to clarify that the BVI business community have really surpassed and passed all requirements and have minimum standard operation procedures in place prior to the full reopening of the borders to visitors. Now, in the early June of this year, the soft and full reopening protocols and the full BVI High Five program were proposed and submitted to the BVI Tourist Board, who later submitted them to the government of the Virgin Islands for input and, of course, decision making. The protocols and the program were recommended and embraced by the BVI Tourist Board until 21st of September 2020, when the BVI Love campaign, of course, that we so popularly have known of, was launched. Now, the BVI, before the campaign's launch, BVICCHA and BVIBIG were very confident, Kyla, that the program would be implemented, of course, to help build traveler and confidence in the national preparedness of protocols, while educating, of course, the equipping of companies and countries across the territory to open safely and responsibly open visitors to the territory of the BVI. Now, on September 30th, 2020, the BVI Tourist Board informed IBG that they decided not actually to proceed as essentially planned with the BVI HI5 Assurance Program. The BVICCHA President of the Hospitality, Ms. Chauncey Klein, in a written statement to the Chamber and, of course, on behalf of the BVI industry sector stakeholders, partners who provided feedback essentially during the consultation period, development of this program, the BVI HI5 insurance program. They said the time put into this project will not be lost, and the proposed recommendation to this organization will essentially continue to, despite of the feedback. We are devastated. This news is devastated, and many hours of works and long hours of dedication we put into this guidelines and protocols developed with the team remains committed to the working on behalf of the industries, of course, with the influence of the roles plays in part with the fighting of the country and everyone's livelihood. Now, hence, the BVICCHA will be hosting a business stakeholders meeting on the 6th of October 2020 to discuss really essentially the submitted reopening plan. Now, we've heard essentially, Kala, where petitions have been brought to the forefront, persons have been speaking out, and persons within the business community have been asking for essential plan, and they've been giving strict deadlines, and we're waiting to see what the government's plan will be in essential to that. But we see where business owners, Kyla, are essentially tired. They're frustrated. They've been presenting plans, and for some for no regard rather, it's been on the essential just a blank eye, and I think they're getting frustrated. So we're going to wait to see, and of course keep our viewers updated. Now, the Chamber of Commerce remains committed to ensuring that all businesses can operate in a responsible manner, clean of course, and of course with abiding to all the health and safety protocols. We're going to continue to keep viewers updated on this story. When it comes to business and the economy, Kyla, persons are concerned. They've been sending us messages. You and I both have received those messages, and we continue to see where persons are frustrated, but we continue to support them in their endeavors.
Most definitely, Ron. Definitely want to give kudos to the BVI CCHA. Since the very start of this pandemic, they have been on the ground running as it pertains to the business community and being that voice. Really and truly, you can see the matter of work that went into this plan and many other recommendations that they gave even before. So we definitely thank them for that, most definitely. But Ron, before we go, the fact that West End now has a new community center. We wanted to tell persons a little bit about that before we go. So the fact is that in a government information services release, it was announced that West End community will soon have a modern center equipped with resources that will be used as an emergency shelter. Now, Premier and Minister of Finance, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, said that he is pleased that works have commenced on this project. Foy said, and I quote, "The center is a valuable resource to members of the community. Additionally, it serves as an emergency shelter for persons in the area and will be a great benefit for the 2021 hurricane season and beyond," end quote. Premier Foy thanked the European Union for providing the funding and Pan America Health Organization for its commitment to provide technical oversight for the implementation of this project and for also providing financial contribution towards the project by covering salaries for their technical staff assigned to assist with the implementation of this project. So definitely great work. The West End community will definitely be looking forward to that, and definitely great stuff, Ron.
Kyla, at the end of the day, I think community centers across the territory are of paramount importance as we, I think we're maneuvering through our hurricane season, and we're so thankful that the British Virgin Islands has been untouched so far
Yes.
by the 2020 hurricane season. But we realize the importance of shelters.
Yes.
Essentially, there are many persons within the community that are just having difficulties, and they're seeing a difficult time. But at the end of the day, if community centers are not available, then they don't have some place to go. And I think that's very important for us in the territory. And I think the government of the Virgin Islands, as well as a lot of non-profit organizations, they continue to do their best.
Most definitely. Now, viewers, we only have 30 minutes, so that
Yes.
means we are
That's all
out
the
of time. I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
And I'm Ron Grant. It's such a privilege coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands, bringing you the latest in local, regional, and of course international content. It's such a pleasure. I'm Ron Grant. Have a beautiful rest of the evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.